Okay, I think we can start now. I see plenty of familiar names in the attendees. Thank you so much for joining us. So I hope you're coping with the quarantine situation as best as possible. Although I think at this point of time, all of us should have become pros at some level, right? We see that there's a lot of interest in this new paradigm of working remotely, working from home, right? And at Vymo, we wanted to curate some of the best practices on this from industry leaders. Before we begin, just a quick poll to check if you can hear me all right. Can you hear me properly? You should see a poll on your screen right now. Gunjan, do we have the results of the poll?
Yeah, Roshan, we are good to go.
Okay, fantastic. I think everyone can hear me all right. So just a quick, brief intro of Vymo. For those of you who may not know about us already, Vymo broadly operates in the CRM/Salesforce automation space, and it's what we call an intelligent personal assistant for frontline personnel. What we do is capture sales or service activities automatically, learn best behaviors within the team, and then nudge next best actions along the sales or service process to improve outcomes. So we work with some of the largest financial services institutions in the world, like Aditya, Birla, Sun Life Insurance as well. We're used by about 100,000 plus frontline personnel in over 60 enterprises across the world. So we have an interesting chat lined up for you. I'm going to introduce our attendees for today, our presenters for today. So Rajesh is a veteran of the financial. He has spent about 25 years in companies and so on before joining Vymo to head our customer teams. So he was head of strategy and innovation at Willis Towers Watson before this. And at Vymo, as the chief customer officer, he acts as the voice of the customer and defines a solution for them. Yeah. Hi, Rajesh. Welcome aboard.
Hey, hi, Roshan.
Rocking the quarantine beard as usual.
Yeah, some change.
Right. So we also have Sandeep, who's our guest for today. Sandeep is the SVP and channel head for Aditya Birla Sun Life Insurance. Sandeep has close to 2 decades of experience, rich experience in distribution, insurance marketing, sales, and P&L management. Currently, he's leading and managing a team of 3,000 plus frontline personnel spread across the country, in managing different lines of businesses. So you can imagine the complexity of sort of shifting all of these people to this new paradigm, right? And that's what we would be really interested to hear from him as well. Hi, Sandeep. Really great to have you on board.
Thanks, Roshan. Hi.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. So the format is that, this will be a freewheeling chat. Rajesh has a bunch of questions that he would want to ask Sandeep about how his teams are adapting to this new normal. And if you have any questions in between, please feel free to use the Zoom Q&A feature and put your questions there, and we'd be happy to take it up as and when the time arrives. Yeah. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Rajesh. Rajesh, all yours.
Thanks, Roshan. So good afternoon, everyone. And once again, welcome to this webinar. I'm very happy to have a opportunity to chat with a senior industry practitioner like Sandeep on the current business environment and how, as the industry, could make the most of it. So Sandeep, just to start with, I would like you to summarize the impact of the current pandemic on the Indian life insurance sector in general. So what are you seeing and what are you hearing and what are your thoughts?
So thanks, Rajesh, and good afternoon, everyone. As you can understand, there is a very different world order that we are experiencing. There is no book, there is no reference point whatsoever on internet or anywhere in the history which tells you how to operate and how the businesses should operate in these times. So it's a very, very different order altogether. And we are all experiencing while we are working on it. So definitely there is an impact, there is a change. And in financial services, sales itself is a little bit of a push product when you go out and sell your product. But in financial services, insurance is one of a very, very strong push product where you have to go and meet a client, make him understand the impact that this product brings in their life. Now, when that face-to-face meeting goes off, then obviously there is a little bit of a challenge. So currently, I think, Rajesh, world over, I can see almost 40, 50, 60%, depending upon the companies, there is an impact on the new business because that face-to-face meeting is not happening. But good news, I think there has been a lot of online take-up for our product. And you can see, web aggregators coming in and selling term plans, which is purely a price-based comparison that people do. And in that case, there is a take-up which has already started happening in India. So the online platform is still working. People are aware, and we keep selling insurance on the pretext that life is uncertain. So if there is an awareness that people have already got, and if I am able to reach out, I'm still able to get some sales. But yes, definitely, depending 40 to 60%, how ready you are with your online platform, there is an impact for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Sandeep. I think fair points. And companies who might have invested in the technology beforehand would actually be, ready to, reap the benefits of that investment. Companies who may not have done that in the past may actually find it very challenging at this moment. Very truly said. I have not seen anybody wake up in the morning and say, I want to buy insurance and call a company. That never happens. Like you rightly said, it's a push product. People have to go out and sell. So from your point of view, Sandeep, as a leader of more than 3,000 people who are, on and distributed teams, I mean, they're everywhere in the country. So I'm sure your priorities in this scenario would have changed. And you mentioned about face-to-face interactions have got affected. So how have these priorities changed for you now as a leader?
So I think I'll speak about myself and my team and what we have done. And so I think very, very, early when this lockdown happened, I could, sense that. And while I was trying to figure out what is the way out of this, how long will it take? I think the understanding was that it is going to take a little time. It's not so easy. There are three situations in which this will come to an end. You get a vaccine. That's number one. Second, the virus dies on its own and suddenly it disappears. Third is that you create some preventive step where you know that you can't get impacted or get infected. And all three scenarios were not something that whatever I could read or gather on the internet, it was not something very, very positive. So the first understanding that I had was that it's going to take time. The reality is going to, change in a longer time than expected. Then what do we do? So, while we all started with the concept of work from home, I said my team that there are two keywords here. One is home, second is work. So I think we have to find a balance between the two. Sometimes, family members start taking work from home, convert it to work at home. So we had to really differentiate between work at home and work from home. But two, three things that we did was that we kind of collectively agreed that we will become a better professional after this lockdown gets over. So the first focus was developing the team and how do we really utilize this time where we are not traveling, not running around, and we have some time. The first big focus will be to develop the team. And in financial services, knowledge is power. You know your products better, you know your competition better, and you will be able to handle objections a little better. So the big emphasis was on getting the knowledge level right. Second, we said that, our first customers are our bank people. We sell it through a bank. So how do we engage and how do we really build our relationships? Typically, when you operate out of a bank branch, everybody is busy. So you hardly get any time to connect and build that connection so that you can really, understand and get a relationship going. So we said, second, we will invest in building relationship. So everybody is free. Everybody is sitting at home. We will not forward WhatsApp messages on Corona. We'll try and talk, have a sensible conversation, which really is going to help him, me as well. So I'll figure out what is positive that I can share in these times. And third, we said we will follow a routine. So every day, like we go out to office, as you can see, I'm wearing a jacket because half the time I'm on a video call with the bank as well. And this is to show respect to them that, yes, Even if I'm sitting at home, I'm available and I can do my job. So this is just to get that internal routine going for me. And the family also at home gets this message very clear that this is something which is serious going on. So if you take, I think these three big focus areas that we identified. Number one, we will change as a professional. Pre-corona and post-corona, there has to be a change, and the professional net worth has to go up. Knowledge, confidence, everything. Second, invest time in building relationships, meaningful relationships, fact-based relationships, and really share knowledge with each other. And third is that have a routine to follow. At 9:30 we start the day, and 6:30 exactly what we will do. It may not be possible to follow to the point, but try and have a ritual in place so that you don't go off the track, at least in these times. I think these are the three things that we have done so far, and kind of helping.
Excellent. I think you're right, Sandeep. I think some people, they were used to coming to office, they were used to interacting with their colleagues, and they may have, questions, and they'll walk up to their bosses and, clarify. So they actually might be feeling this change a bit difficult to handle as well. So the fact that you're able to connect with them on a daily basis, and you have a structure in terms of 9:30 to 6, whatever the timelines have been, and you're adhering to that, and everybody is engaging in that period, is interesting. So how do you manage to connect with everybody? I mean, I'm sure technology is helping. So what is it that you tend to do?
I think 2-3 things. I must thank my organization for really being proactive in this area. Financial services, I think one of the mission that we had started on, that we will make it entire journey paperless. So when I'm sitting with a client, I don't need a paper and a pen. So how do I digitally, convert and meet a client, make him understand my product, and then convert everything into an online thing. So I think, that investment has paid off. So while to connect, we are using this Zoom platform where we get a chance to see each other, and everybody I get a chance to meet the last mile. I have every day morning I'm participating in one state's call where I'm meeting the frontline guys, telling them to take care of themselves, telling them that don't venture out, maintain social distancing, but digitally reach out. So that Zoom platform is one way to connect. Second, to build that culture and ritual of discipline, basically discipline is we signed up with Vymo a couple of months back, and that journey started a long time back. And good news is that we have gone live with that. We have 1,000 users right now out of 3,000 people who are doing it on a daily basis. Our usage is more than 90%. So we really invested in building that app, and maybe we were not aware of that there is something like this going to happen. But we wanted to make everything available on the app, right from the sales funnel to the performance management to the incentive to the profile of the client, of the banker. Everything is available on that. So now he doesn't have to worry to log into a system or log into a desktop or speak to the supervisor, or he has to wait for an email. Centrally, I'm able to put all the data, and he's able to see everything what is happening around. So I think these are some of the platforms which are helping us. And as I said, I must thank my company for investing in one, making everything digital. So there is no paper. As it is, there was no paper. Right now also, you don't need a paper. If the customer says yes, and you have a platform which gives you an overview of the entire sales on your smartphone, sitting at home. And there is a backend team which is working again, sitting at home, and to pushing all the data which is visible for them. So I think that's what is helping right now. That investment is paying off.
I agree with you, Sandeep. And as we were discussing, technology is going to come to help in such a situation. And I'm very glad to hear that Vymo has been instrumental in helping equip your sales team on the ground so that they can get all the information they need to potentially replicate what they would have otherwise done in offices. So their work is really not suffering. So although they're working from home, they're able to actually work from home in the manner they would have otherwise worked. So it's very happy to hear that this is working out from that perspective. Now, looking at customers itself, Sandeep, given the lockdown, what changes have you observed about the customer engagement itself? I mean, in terms of them reaching out to you or you reaching out to them, how has that changed?
So there has been a mixed response from the market. Some businesses are impacted. So there is a cash flow problem with these businesses, and hence investment has taken a backseat, and they are not kind of too keen or interested in They want some liquid and they want some cash to be available with them right now. And as we all can see, there is an impact in the economy because of that, because some small time businesses are completely out. Now, people who are working, people who have the money, I think they have some extra money as well. There is no outing, there is no eating out, there is no movies, there is no travel, there is no petrol. So some of these expenses are gone down, and hence savings has gone up.
Yeah.
And therefore, third, there is also an awareness that life is uncertain. Anything can go wrong. For a product like a term or something which gives you hospital care benefits, look, while there is a health insurance business which is also going up, in life insurance also you have options where you can, take care of your medical expenses. We call it riders, which are like add-ons over a life insurance policy. So I think that also has is catching attention of people. So while when we sell life insurance, we say that every human being that you come across has got three big risks. The number one is risk of dying early. All of us have it. The number two is risk of living too long. And that's a bigger risk. While Corona is also impacting you, 98% chances are nothing will go wrong. Mortality is only 2%. So the risk of living too long is very, very high. And in between these two risks, there is a morbidity risk. You will get hospitalized. You will have, you will need money for treatment. So how do you take care of these three risks? And we are in the business of risk management. How do you take care of these three big? If you have a product which gives all three, I think the customer is willing to listen. Yes, he has to take care of the finances, and you have to be sensible enough to reach out to customers whom you know is the profile where right now there is some cash available and they may not be in a cash crunch situation. If you reach out, good proposition, customers are saying yes. So our business has not stopped. It has come down, but yes, it's growing. Every day from the first day of lockdown to today, I think we are at a good state right now. Because of the process, the system, technology, and a customized product which is catering to the need of the customers.
Very true. And I think, like you rightly mentioned, people are sensitive to the requirements of the customer, and they are looking at, what exactly the customer needs. And maybe the situation is also bringing up to the customer the fact that you mentioned life is uncertain. So there is a risk, and he needs to worry about that risk for his family. So I think all of this is actually helping from that perspective.
And just to add here, while we are reaching out, we are making sure that we are very empathetic to the client. And while we are talking, we don't want to be looked as peddler for insurance and I'm trying to push my product. I have a client, I have a relationship. I'm just reaching out to share how things are. I be safe, take care of yourself. And then also in the due course of time saying that, would you be interested in something like this? In case right now, if not, maybe later, let us know. We are there. We are working. We are fine. We can help you. You don't have to come out. Because a lot of times people also don't know that everything is digital. So if you can give the comfort that by sitting at home, you can do this and you can take this decision, I think that also helps.
No, definitely. And I think, as you rightly mentioned, this is a time to build and nurture your relationship. So it's not about trying to sell today. You're looking at the lifetime value of that customer. So, you build that relationship, you will actually get much more business going forward. So I think you're right. I mean, it's not about taking advantage of the situation, so to speak. And that I think is coming top down. And that is important, Sandeep, because at the ground level, let's say a customer calls your customer service agent saying, I need a premium holiday because I can't pay. If he's not sensitized how to deal with that customer, I'm sure he needs to be trained, and you might be taking some measures to train them, saying in such a situation, how you should be empathetic towards him and how you need to deal with them. I mean, that's very important, I would think. So are you getting these calls? Because we saw that the government has given moratorium for loans, so the EMI payments. Have you received these kind of requests from customers who say that, we don't have cash right now, we want to, get a premium holiday for 3 months, something like that?
So let me tell you, yes, IRDA has also kind of given us the mandate that we need to extend. If the policy was due and it was supposed to lapse, if you don't pay the premium lapse, the benefit ceases. They gave us, but other side, we had the highest collections. We did not reach out to the clients, but we had the highest. This was the best month for collections because, see, there are two ways an industry is growing. Number one, there are more people buying insurance, right? I'm reaching out to more people and they are increasing the base. Second is people are buying more insurance. So if I'm alert and if I'm a mature and understanding customer, I want more because I understand the need and the benefit of this product. So when a customer buys and if he feels that this is the right thing to do, he wants to continue. And during these times, Not that we reached out, not that we put some extra effort and measure, but it was the highest. And we still have some more days to go. So I am hopeful, that the customers will pay. But yes, we have given that extension. There have been queries, and we are supporting the customer in these times.
Excellent. I mean, that's very nice to hear, Sandeep. So in terms of from a management point of view, right, the MIS that comes across from bottom up, and given that now people are working remotely, and I think you mentioned that you already in your organization everything is digital anyway. So I think more of the MIS is coming through that point of view. Plus maybe Vymo, maybe you can share with us as to how Vymo is helping you with getting the insights on the activity itself that's happening and collating that as an MIS for senior management.
So yes, so what we are doing, so since all of it is interconnected, I have a mobile application where I can log in a proposal form. For example, if I meet you and if I'm trying to sell a policy to you, I have to enter details and all of that. It's a big journey, long journey. I have that available on my cell phone. Sitting at your home, you can log into a net banking of the bank page and you have that option to buy a product there as well. Now, all that system talks to each other. So we're able to get that centrally. So what we have done, in fact, and again, thanks to the management, while we were going through all this, we had a business continuity plan where we had shifted everything to homes and said that, a guy should be able to. We rented some 150, 200 laptops. We gave everything, people sitting at home to do that. And before the lockdown only, the company had a lockdown. For 2 days, we completely shut everything, all offices, and we said, let's see whether we are able to work or not, so that we can go back and fix. I think we connected all the glitches that we had, fixed all of that. And now we have a platform which talks to each other. So the MISs and everything are coming. I think the first focus, as you said, that how are you trying to do and drive that? The first focus at 9:30 is on skill builder. So rather than a sales huddle and all that, 1 hour, and there is a calendar for topics to be covered every day. And while the training team has given a topic for 7 days, we don't have the content right now, but we're working in the background to get the content ready. So we have a 9:30 to 10:30 for next 30 days, a calendar ready. 30th April, I know how I'm going to learn. Second, what we have done, the sales leaders are conducting these programs. So not the training team. So we are saying, no, the training team. So what happens then? It's not my ownership. The sales leader, when he is driving and teaching people, the first wine comes at his level. That, okay, boss, since I'm talking all of that please take care of your health, talk nicely to your client. Also, it's a very interesting thing while you're connecting with Zoom and everything, while you are talking and you are talking to your team as a supervisor, there are 5 more people in the family who are listening to you. The guy may be having an earphone, but it may not be connected. So you have to be very careful of what you are talking, because everybody gets either motivated or demotivated by your conversation. So it's a very interesting approach and very interesting stage that we are in. And that's what I think I told my team, that we just have to be natural. We just have to be what we are. And we have to build, the first focus is not business this time, but the first focus is to really strengthen and help people build their careers, more knowledgeable. And that's what the big theme, big theory. In turn, business, if it happens, if you reach out to clients sitting at home, don't go out. And if the client is willing, don't push anything. But if the client is willing, say yes, and then can complete the journey. That MIS is all interconnected, and obviously Vymo is helping, because that Vymo plays a very important role in getting that sales funnel, interactions, how many people, what converts. We also create success stories of people who are digitally reaching out to customers, and the customers are saying yes. So it's also a mind block in some cases where people are saying, no, this is not going to work. So I will take some time and let this get over, and then I will move out. And maybe we are showcasing that, look, so many customers contacted. This is not Excel. This is an app which is telling you, because the guy enters.
Correct.
We're also trying to push some data from our side. All queries that we get, customers who are interested, this is the time to reach out to this customer. So that also, I think Vymo is helping to push that data. Sitting at home, I get a name, number. Okay, reach out to Sandeep Mishra, he wants. And then I pick up the phone and speak. So I think both ways it's available and it's working.
Yes, Sandeep. I think.
I'm so sorry, Rajesh, Sandeep. There's a very relevant question, right, based on just what you said. This question was asked by Narayan, asking, are remote insurance agents actually being more efficient while they're working from home as compared to when they're working on site?
Yeah, so I think, as I said, it's all individual, related, because I also said there are mindset issues. If you believe that, you know, this I can utilize my time more efficiently because there is no travel time, there is no running around. The customer also doesn't take otherwise. Sometimes when you call the customer and try to sell him on a phone, in a normal day he gets offended. कि आप
Correct.
घर बैठे हो and you are trying to sell me sitting at the comfort of your home. Right now it's the opposite. He doesn't want you to come. He wants you to be at home and, you know, tell me what can be done. So it's also how do you approach and how do you look at things. So in a way, if the discipline is there and if you think the mindset is also different at the customer end, I think it's a good working like this, because you are not spending, and most importantly than money, time, which you are saving right now, and that time can be utilized. You know, I have been telling my people for long that time is not something that you need to manage. You need to utilize, and this is a right moment. So while you are a remote agent, it all depends, number one, on your individual understanding and discipline, and then second, also the belief that the customers are also ready to, listen to you while you're remotely working from home.
No, couldn't agree more on that. There's one more question, right? With this whole work from a situation, there's certain behavioral changes which I'm sure you must be noticing in your teams, right? In the way they work, the way they carry out their daily activities. What do you think are some of these work style changes that you would like your team to continue in the long run as well, post the lockdown?
Yeah. So I think first, as a team leader, as a management, the number one principle here is trust. You need to trust your people, and you need to trust them from head to toe, from your heart. So number one is that. Second, when you trust them, you get the best behavior. And while I know that, what some of the things that I would like to continue is, number one, development. I think we are really getting time to listen and listen carefully. And really, I can see a change. And when I see people participating in the morning skill builders, they sit with a paper and pen. And earlier it was not happening. I would like them to continue with this. Second, I would like the investment that they are making in building relationships with people by not sharing some, normal forwards, but really getting that insight and sharing with people, talking. I think I would like that to continue. And third, obviously, for us, it's also a message that digitally, what else can we do? Have we done everything? No. But have we traveled some distance? Yes. I would like that to continue. So don't go back to the old forms. Use the digital platforms that you have. Try to connect over the phone. And I'm sure the customers will also not mind. So these are the three things that we are very hopeful that we will be able to continue. And I would like my team also to continue.
Yeah. It's very interesting, Sandeep, that you mentioned that. And also the fact that you mentioned that on a daily basis, you have a training calendar for the next 30 days that you have already set out, which is also interesting. So you're investing in the development of the team. As you mentioned, that was your first point, that you mentioned that the skills need to improve. And this is an opportunity to do that. And that's very useful. So I had another question on the sales funnel itself, right? The leads that are there. The fact that this particular situation has, as you said, it's sudden, and it's actually grown very fast as well, rapidly as well. It's evolved, in which case the lockdown happened suddenly. So I'm sure there is a pipeline which is already there of the leads, but that would dry out in some time if the lockdown continues. So how do you think you will then be able to manage? I'm sure people are working on those leads today, but in terms of top end of the funnel, the drying up of the leads, is there something that you're thinking of doing which will enable more leads to flow into this funnel, which can be given out to these guys, the agents and people on the ground?
So I think you also see, we work with a bank, a very successful bank, and whether you are working as an individual agent or a bank or any setup, you also know what kind of customers. So I'll give you the example of a bank right now. What kind of customers buy insurance policy? So the bank also understands that right now they are not able to reach the bank. Customers are also not coming to branches, but we have a set of profile that we have kind of picked up, that these are the set of customers who buy insurance. So if I can make an offer, I can do an analytics on the database, and I can come back to you saying, Rajesh, we understand you are more of an aggressive investor and you'd like a product which gives you a return from the market. And we have an offer. You don't have to do anything. Typically in insurance, what also happens, Rajesh, is that you have to go for a medical. In case you want to buy a term plan, or in case you want to go for a higher sum assured, you need to be medically fit for that, because insurance is as they say, is a subject matter of solicitation. So while I can tell you that, you can go for a say 10 crore, but for that medicals right now, it's not a environment. Why don't you take 3? Is what I can give you right now, without anything, without any medical. I like your profile. I like your overall, everything plays a role. If I'm able to do that analytics in the background, which the team is working on, and I reach out to you, sir, that as an esteemed customer, we would like to make you this offer, don't have to do anything. You just have to say yes, make the payment and say yes, and you are insured. So we have done the underwriting at our end. So we have the details that we need. And on that, we are running our analytics to come back. So we are trying to tell to the team that don't worry, while you keep interacting and keep generating, we are also trying to see what else can we do in the back.
Correct. So get you more leads so they can work on. Yeah. Excellent. So Sandeep, on this medical underwriting limits, so for this period, have you also seen a request from the sales at least saying, please increase the non-med limits so that we can actually get more policies that we can sell in this fashion? Has that been done or?
Yeah, already done.
Okay.
That was the request. Yes, that was the request which had come. So, and obviously, it's a tough task to go back to the reinsurers, because they get a little scared in these times. That obviously for them, the insurance claim is something that they're worried about. But we kind of thought that this was the call of the day. This was the need of the hour, and we have already done that. We have already increased it, and we have shared that with the field. So that also is a conversation point for you, that in these times the company is understanding, and we are trying to give you higher.
Correct. I mean, that allows the sales team to actually sell to more customers in a wider base of customers, and also to the customers that you're able to give them a higher, sum assured in spite of the medical requirements that they would have otherwise undergone. So it's a very nice situation to be from that perspective. Interesting. So we saw when demonetization happened and how it led to the proliferation of payment gateways and wallets. So with this current situation, do you think it will have a long-standing impact on the insurance industry as well, from a technology adoption perspective?
I personal view, yes, this will take a different shape altogether. And I think biggest area that I see is that, one, with the immediate context that we are in, we see that the journey of a customer getting onboarded, the moment he says yes, and we have a lot of details that we need, I think that journey will become very short. So that journey will shorten, and that's what we are saying, and we are pushing. And obviously, because the customer now sitting at home, and I'm not able to reach out and make you fill all the forms and details. If the guy has to do on his own, he should be able to do it in, say, 2 or 3 clicks. So how do we shorten that journey? So that, I think, is going to change. How do we really make the services available at his doorstep? If he wants money, if he wants to withdraw money in case of an emergency, how do you make that entire journey paperless? You come to the office, fill a form, why do you want, justify. How do you make it 1 click, 3 clicks, and he gets the money in case of an emergency? Because it's his money. Some products allow, some products don't allow. Products which allow after a certain period of time, how do you make that? And that will create more buying. Third, I think there is a huge opportunity of creating need-based insurance. For example, I need only for 30 days. I need only for 90 days. And that specific, I may charge higher, but I don't have a product right now. I'm going out for 2 years. I just want for 2 years, and then I don't want to continue. Can I get that? So like, for example, Uber and Ola, you don't have a car, but you ride. You come on the platform, you use my service and go back. And you pay for that duration that you're on the Uber platform, say 300, 400. I'm not asking you to pay the EMI of the car, or now the car is yours. You come, you use my services, go back, and you pay for that duration. Now, in that duration, how do you create something? I think that's something I'm sure there are people thinking, but we are also kind of trying to figure out a way where we can work on some of these things. So convenience, the key word being convenience, because historically it has been a complex product. It has been a push product. So how do you create a convenience? And I see this as an opportunity.
Definitely. I think you're right, Sandeep. I think world over, we've seen that happen in terms of technology being used to actually deliver convenience. I mean, the important thing was convenience from that perspective. So given this is obviously a dark cloud here, and if I would extend this thought process and say, what do you see as a silver lining of this particular situation today for the industry at large? So what would be your thoughts?
So I'm a positive person, so I have all positive things to think and talk about. I personally believe that we are as a world. I think we are going to emerge more stronger, more together, and more as one. I can see within my company, the department that used to fight with each other are trying to help each other. So I think that's a silver lining, that we are all coming together in these stressful times as a team, as a family, as a team, as a country. So I think this is going to really, and I'm sure it's 100% it's going to end. And when it ends, I think we will emerge as a very different entity, as an organization, as a team, as a human race, more stronger and more powerful. And technology will definitely play a very important role. I think that's the big agenda. That how do you really drive technology, make it as part of your life, and they're going to to play a very, very important role. Couple of years back, I had seen a video which said privacy is dead. I think it will make sure that it's finally dead, and everything is like in whatever domain available. But yes, we will come back stronger as a human race, more importantly than anything else.
I agree. I mean, there's a saying which says, whatever does not kill you only makes you stronger. So clearly, we will emerge stronger from the situation, right? And all industries as well. So there will be innovations. Some innovations will stick because of the current challenges. Obviously, you're inventing, and now those things, you will like it, then it'll stick. And also, I believe if people do a certain thing for 20 or something, that might happen. So from this entire model of work from home, Sandeep, do you think that given the success that you're seeing with this, and also the value, as you mentioned, right, lesser time to travel, lesser time wasted in meetings, sitting and waiting for other things to happen, so do you think that you will incorporate work from home as a standard to a certain extent in your operating model itself?
So to some extent, yes. My personal view again. To some extent, yes, they should. But right now, while you're working from home, there are no distractions. There's no
Correct.
doorbell, no kids going to school, no get down and pick up. Everything is locked. Kids are also at home. So you have built a routine.
Yeah.
The moment it opens up, you will have guests coming in, you will have somebody coming in. There are no maids. So there is no housekeeping happening, no house cleaning happening. All of that is there. Now that gives you a lot of attention, discipline. When this happens, then it's individual. Then you have to, right now the environment is supporting you, and you are more disciplined, maybe because you don't have a choice, because the kids is also go down, pick from the bus stop, and all that is not there right
Not
now.
happening.
So
Yeah.
if that is the case, we are very disciplined. What if that all happens? So I don't think that will be a full-time norm in some of the businesses that we are, but yes, definitely it can be explored. I can see clearly with some businesses that I'm talking to in the market. I think commercial real estate will see some challenge, because I know some of the people. I was telling the other day that every house that you see which is very quiet, there is an office running in that house. It feels like it. People are working and
Correct.
it's all happening. So, but you will see a mix. My personal view, a mix of.
Yes, it's saying take the best of both worlds and try to integrate that into your model. So I agree with you. Maybe that will be the approach. It may not move fully to work from home, but obviously it can integrate and we can use the benefits of both models. Interesting. So one last question for me to wrap up, Sandeep, and then we will obviously open the floor for any questions people might have, was to just check with you, saying, if you were to give your top 3 recommendations to other insurance sales and distribution leaders, how could they emerge successful in this scenario? What would those be?
So I think what's worked for us, and I don't think we are there, but still we are kind of very comfortable, at least for my team, I can say. I think the first thing that the team is looking for, confidence and comfort. Give them the confidence, give them the comfort that they need to be safe and they need to take care of themselves first than anything else. And the company is there to support them. Second, provide the environment, right environment, digital environment, digital platforms, so that life becomes easier for them. Because you expect them to work because you pay them. So how do you make sure that this reality is not something that they have created? It's something that we had kind of, and that's our job to really turn around quickly and see what best we can do. And I know my friends in industry were saying that some things have really moved very fast, and they've all moved and graduated to a digital platform. So which is very good. I think that's something that we need to do. We need to really invest our monies in digital platforms right now to get this discipline going, because they want discipline. Everybody wants to work at the end of the day and earn some money and become successful. So that's the second thing that they want. Third, I think, develop the team. Right now they're looking for investment in their own development. What kind of online courses can you recommend? How many hours are you investing? Because there is no choice, and you're saving some time in travel and running around, so you can productively use this time to reach out to your employees and train them well, help them build their career, help them invest in themselves so that they become a asset for you in the long run. So these are the top 3 things that I would like to share.
Excellent, Sandeep, and that was very well said. So Roshan and Gunjan, can we have any questions from the floor that you might have received?
Okay, sure. Thank you, Sandeep, for the wonderful insights that you gave. Thank you also, Rajesh, for helping us moderate this discussion. We have received quite a bunch of questions from the audience side, so I'll just take them up one by one. Right?
Yeah.
Sandeep, just continuing from what you just said recently, many of the audience wants to know how has the leadership coaching scenario changed, right, for the employees, given that it is a completely new situation we are all under in, and none of us have ever faced this situation such a large scale. So what steps are the leadership team taking to help coach the frontline teams on how to interact with customers and, get on with day-to-day operations?
So I think what steps we are taking with the team, as I said, that while the demand is a product is helping us, the demand is there, we can reach out and we will see a positive response also coming our way. How do we reach out? What do we say? I think that is very, very important. So in these times, I think what we are teaching our team is that, like the way you want comfort, empathy, confidence from the management, I think the customer is also looking for that. So the call to customer should not be for a sales, is to help them understand. First, check their understanding and check if there is any help that is needed. Are they safe, taking care of themselves? Then also, I'm sure in the course, you also get to discuss what's happening. Share, we have some great solutions, which is available at a click of a button. These are the times that we have been talking about, uncertain times. And I think something in the form of insurance will help. Only if the customer is interested. And, and we are saying we are not in the, I have been saying personally for so many years, we are not in the business of sales. We are in the business of advising. Sales happens when the transfer of money happens and I become the owner of money. In insurance or financial services, I am never the owner of the money. The money still is of the customer. I just have to make the money work. You buy an air conditioner, now it's your headache, whether it's working, not working, surveys, where do you want to put it? I have taken my money. I can do whatever I want to do with that money. I can invest in business. I can go buy a villa in Dubai as a company. In insurance and financial services, the money never is yours. So advice is the best. And you need to, as I said earlier also, you need to win the trust of the customer. So what we are helping our people is to build trust, have the right knowledge, show empathy, have the right solution, which is the right thing for the customer. And then if the intentions are right, it's a tick, 100% tick on all 3, you will win. A customer will respect you. So in these times, I think more than sales or more than numbers, we are saying earn the trust and respect of your clients. I think that's what we are driving.
Absolutely right. I mean, Rajesh can agree with me on this, that how putting the needs of your customers first and, extending a helping hand towards them instead of trying to sell them a product or solution, that is what will help build a long lasting relationship, right? So Rajesh, continuing from that only, we have been working very closely with leading insurance companies like Aditya, Birla as well. What are some of the steps that we as a company are taking to, support our clients in these times? And how are we ensuring that regulatory and security compliances are in proper checks?
Yeah, so we actually, as Vymo, had a quick turnaround given the situation the way it emerged, because our clients obviously had people who were now distributed teams and working from their homes, and maybe at some point not having the information that they need for conducting their day-to-day activities. So we quickly turned around and looked at some features that we built out. We went into integrations with cloud telephony companies where we can ensure that any customer calls can be placed with where the masking of number was required. For instance, where the data was in the CRM that sits in the company's office, not available to the end user who was supposed to make these calls. Also integration with Zoom, and so that we can open a Zoom meeting for a client, for a salesperson with his client, rather than him having to have a meeting face to face. I mean, obviously the scenario is such. So we also got cracking into understanding how the operating model has to change to allow for this situation, which is today where you can't really meet face to face. And we took this to our clients. We work with our clients to ensure that this is integrated in their operating model, and then the people are trained on this, and we can enable, to the extent possible, the daily business as usual environment that Sandeep was talking about, in terms of what they were doing in offices, and that can be replicated for their people, so people can come together. They have a platform to engage, they know what to do, and there is a single source of decision making, and how is that flowing through the communication itself, flowing top down from the management as to what is expected of them, and flowing bottom up from the teams to the management in terms of what activities are happening, what are they hearing from the customers, etc. So all that being available, which otherwise would have been a challenge. So this allows the management to know really what's happening on the ground, even in a situation where people are working remotely, and they have only remote medium to connect with them. So yeah, so that's all of these we did. In fact, with collections, although not from the insurance space, we are talking today about insurance. The fact of the cloud telephony example that I gave earlier was very relevant, because let's say collections team, and this may to a certain extent apply to renewals if you look at from an insurance context, where people are have to call customers whose policies have lapsed, and you need to ensure that the amount is collected. And if you don't have access to those customers' phone numbers, and in the case of bank where the lending is happening, there is a compliance requirements that the salesperson should not have the phone number of the customer. Now, in which case, how can he actually call up and follow up with the customer, because these numbers are in the CRM of the company? So by virtue of the integration we had, just the call button against the name of the customer on the app, on Vymo app, which let's say the salesperson will have or collection agent will have, they just click that button. They don't have any customer number, and we place a call through cloud telephony using the CRM database of that particular company, and place a call with the client, and then patch it back to the salesperson, so he can actually now have the call. So you can imagine that if that call would not have happened from a collection standpoint, the entire business would have come to a standstill. So this was a very important integration, which we had to do within 72 hours for one of our clients. I think clients really appreciate that.
Absolutely right. And also, being able to stay in constant touch with customers also, like, lends us a ear on the ground to what customers are actually thinking and how are they feeling right now. So Sandeep, I guess there's a really good question for you. How has consumer attitudes changed to insurance in this period? Right, like you had earlier mentioned that insurance is not something that you need, but something as you buy. That was the initial attitude for customers. And over the past few weeks, we have been seeing reports how the demand for healthcare insurance products has gone up drastically. So what is your comments on this attitude change in customers?
So as you said that, yes, awareness for health has gone up drastically. And life insurance, not that we have started getting queries about life insurance, but yes, term plans. I think if we are able to offer a term plan without a medical, I think that's where we see a take up going up. So there are innovations happening to really have a higher non-medical limit, and the convenience of the customer being highest. So in that sense, there is obviously a positive response, that if you take care of the convenience and offer a paperless, non-medical kind of a journey, you see customers saying yes. But as I said, that there are certain segments of the customers where there is a business continuity problem, there is a liquidity problem. I think these customers must not be approached, avoided, and we should also understand that this is a temporary problem that they're going through, and they will also bounce back. So hence a big segment is not available. for insurance investment right now. But otherwise, I think it's a mix of both. People are reaching out for help. In case of a life, if you reach out with a very simple, easy, convenient offer, the customers say yes. Not 100%, but if earlier it was say 20-30, it's 40-50 right now.
That's true, right? I couldn't agree more. Rajesh, your comments on this?
No, as Sandeep, I completely agree with what Sandeep is saying, right? So it is basically saying we are trying to modify the product. We spoke about increasing the non-med limits. We're looking at this point in time, what is most relevant for the customer. Clearly, because one, term insurance products have lower premium as well when you compare them with, the other savings-oriented products. So which means that, and the other fact of the matter is, you're giving pure protection. And riders on top. So riders is something that the customers is incremental value for the customer. So you're actually packaging a solution which is going to be best for the customer and come at a lowest potential price. So that's a very nice win-win kind of a model. And I think like Sandeep was earlier mentioning that they have done these analytics and understood who is it that they should be targeting because they require this kind of products, and they're feeding this information to their teams, and the team is taking this up. So I think, I think I fully agree with Sandeep. I think this is a good strategy and good suggestion for even others who are listening on the call to follow and emulate.
And just to add, I think what happens in a health insurance or a Mediclaim is that you get a reimbursement. So if your expense in a hospital is say 1 lakh, you will get 1 lakh. Sometimes it's co-pay. Sometimes you have different tiers. You're a gold member, platinum member. You will not get single occupancy. You will not get double occupancy and all of that. Now, if you take a rider, what just Rajesh mentioned, from a life insurance company, it's a payment, committed payment. Say, for example, in one of the riders I was looking at 6,000 per day. Now, irrespective whether you go to a 5-star, hospital or a normal hospital, your expenses say 3,000. I'll pay you 6,000. And 100 days in a year, 6,000 rupees. If you're hospitalized, ICU, this doubles. So I think these are again a product feature which you understand, and I'm sure each company has it. If you can talk about these, and obviously the customer then wants, I just want this one. So you can't, then you will have to club it so that all three big risks are taken care of. So I think there are offers, and if you are sensitive about the client's needs and requirements, I think your advice will automatically revolve around that. And hence you will see awareness, understanding, buying going on.
Yeah. And to add to that point, Sandeep, these riders are obviously over and above any policy they have. So even if they have an existing health insurance policy, they will still get this money. So it's actually an advantage.
Absolutely.
So I believe we are out of time, Gunjan.
Yes,
just
I think
on the hour.
We are right at the 1 hour mark right now. Thank you so much, Rajesh. Thank you so much, Sandeep, for the wonderful insights that you shared. For the folks on call, in case you want to take up any one-to-one questions with Rajesh or Sandeep, you can drop us a quick email at wfh@getvymo.com. We'll also be sharing this session online shortly. And if you want to understand some benchmarks on how organizations are adapting to this new paradigm, do reach out to us at wfh@getvymo.com or visit getvymo.com/wfh. Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, Sandeep.
Thanks,
Rajesh.
Thanks, Sandeep. Yeah.